Welcome to Masterminds, a podcast series by Success Alchemists, where we invite industry leaders and founders to share their scaling up journey. Today, we have Mr. Sachin Gurav with us. He is a co founder and CEO of BNT Soft, a tech firm that primarily operates in the payments and fintech space. Sachin is a first generation entrepreneur, a fintech leader with 20 plus years of experience building people first technology solutions. Welcome, Sachin, to Masterminds.
Thank you, Sandesh. Thank you for inviting me to the studio.
Thanks, Sachin. Sachin, tell us about BNT Soft.
BNT stands for Bits and Thoughts. Bits is the smallest thing in the computer language, and thoughts is biggest thing you want to achieve. So small to big, we deliver technology solutions. What we do, we are the specialist into the technology services, but in the payment and fintech space. Whenever there is a transaction involved, we come into picture. Imagine you're doing shopping or you're doing a banking transaction or else you're transferring fund to your hometown or in the US. We are the people who work behind the scenes. We are the people who build that technology. We never come into the face of the customer. So we are the people who build technology services, software development services for retailers, for fintechs, for banks, for forex companies, and wherever you want your money to be reached, be it digital, it can be QR code, it can be crypto, your loyalty cards, anything where the money flows, we come into picture.
Sachin, tell us more about your journey, how the journey of BNT Soft started.
We all founders were working together for one organization before we started BNT. It was just a 6 people company, and within a short span, it went for 600 people company. We were part of that journey right from the inception to the scaling up. How difficult times were there. We were there in 2008 as well when the financial markets were not doing well. We have seen that journey. We were not in Pune, we were in Delhi. And people from Pune don't like to live Pune. We want to come back to Pune. And our CEO he is a very good person when we worked at. We requested him that we want to leave. Delhi is not suiting us. We want to come back to Pune. He is a gem of person who said, Sachin, why don't you guys start a Pune office? So three of our founder, we came to Pune. We started the operations. We were involved in each and every part of that journey to form that office, to start right from getting the premises, hiring people, financial part, getting generators, getting the furniture ready. The entire setup was done by us. And we also, not just three of us came, but we also scaled this office to 100 people. And one day, me and my CTO, the current CTO, Shekhar, my co-founder, we were traveling for a meeting, and during that travel, we were thinking what we are doing. We have that experience of doing entirely for how the business is running, and we are running for somebody else. Why can't we do it for ourselves? And there was a second point where I was being asked to move to Europe to start the Europe operations as well. And at the same time, Shaker was asked to move to Australia to look the Australia office. Now we said, why do we want to leave Pune or move there? We never aspired to be outside. So we said, instead of doing for somebody else, why can't we do it for ourselves? So that was the trigger point when we decided to leave the company. It was now or never kind of situation, because we had very less liabilities. Kids, in fact, both are his and my kids are of same age. So kids were small. The decision was like, it's now that we need to take that call. Else, if we move to Australia, we won't be able to do it again. So we said, let's start it out. And we spoke with our CEO. He was not ready to leave us. We convinced him somehow. In fact, he offered us to be the first investor in a company, but he asked us to wait for 1 year. And we knew he was going to sell his company. He was in talks with some of the bigger companies to acquire a company. And we said, that spark, if we lose that spark that moment, it won't come again. So we requested, he also agreed. And within the 3 months' time, we started BNT. So
Amazing.
January 2010, we started BNT. This is how BNT started.
BNT is now almost 16 years.
Yes.
And how many, I mean, how big is the organization in terms of number of people?
So currently we are 140 people company. We have a US office as well. It's registered in Boston. People keep on traveling here and there. Most of our clients are like in North America. We have Europe. We also cater in Asia Pacific, specifically for Australia and Singapore markets. We do work.
So, Sachin, I will start my questions from the first pillar of scaling up, which is the people pillar, because people is the foundation of any organization. And therefore, my first question to you is about retention. I remember in one of our conversation, you said that more than 30% of your employees are with you for more than 10 years. Would you like to tell us how it happened or what did you do?
Scaling in a services company is a tricky thing. All the growth depends on the people. You have to hire very good resources to retain clients, and the quality should maintain. And the 30% of my current strength have been working with me previously to previous organization. In fact, their transition has been along with me. Their journey is also with me. Most of them know me last 20 years. So two organizations we have traveled. Wherever I moved, they were either subordinates to me or they were peer to me. Wherever I moved or Shaker moved, they also moved with us. And it is where we always believe that hiring fast won't give the solution. It dilutes the quality. Somewhere we don't get that ownership, that trust. And these people, it's trust from both the sides. It's not just we believe in them, they believe in us. So they take any task we give, they take that ownership and they drive it. Their inputs will also be considered wherever it's required, and they pinpoint. In fact, I can give you one example where, as a founder or as a director, we used to spend money outside for meetings and all. So, my admin guy, who also is a very senior guy, he said, you need to submit bills to us. So he said, but I was like reluctant to, why do you asking bills? I am the director of the company. I am the founder of the company. Why are you asking the bill? He said, Sachin, why have you hired me? To save money or to spend money? You have to be very strict on spendings. So he asked for each and every bills for me. That's what the trust is, and that's what's the authority we have given to them. And they also somewhere believe in us that whatever we are doing is for their benefit as well. So they think that they are part of the company. In fact, some of them think that they are owners as well.
So, what do you think when it comes to retention? What is more important? Is it the compensation or is it a culture in the organization?
For me, it is mix of both. Obviously, culture is more important when it comes to the trust building, the quality. But at the same time, people work for money. They need to be compensated by the market. You cannot pay, just give them the culture and say we'll not pay to the what is the market standard. You have to remain what is standard. Yes, you can pay a bit less if your culture is that good. People trust you, but not far less. So I think it should be the mix of both the culture and compensation. That is more important. And again, for the small company like us, it is both.
So, I'll just take you from retention to hiring because I think in your space, when it comes to hiring, you're competing with the giants, big companies. So, what kind of challenges do you face and how do you overcome that?
Since my career started, I've always worked in a small organization. I know what challenges it's there for hiring and how important it is to have a right people to do the right job. We don't have a big pockets to spend a lot on the resources where we can afford to keep a heavy bench. And again, there is this brand where people want to join a brand. And with BNT, we didn't had a brand. We were a small company, and but we wanted to be different. Again, yeah, another challenge was that we were working in niche. The niche, when I say payment domain, that's is something you don't find people, technology people who understands the domain, and I can get them easily in the market. So I have to develop. At the same time, I need to give them a unique offer where people can stay with me. So in the initial years, what we did is that we were offering monetary appraisals twice a year in the month of July, and in the month of January. We used to give the monetary appraisals to them so that though they start at a low CTC with us, over the period of time, they get good compensation. And there is a very good example where two friends gave the interview with us. One joined BNT, another joined a bigger MNC. That person got a good CTC and higher CTC. The person with us was almost half of his CTC. But after 5 years, the person who joined us was drawing more, almost 30% more than what the person joined in MNC. So that is the difference of, okay, again, the benefit of compounding. And this helped us. That person himself said that despite me being with MNC, I'm drawing less compared to his friend who joined us.
Right. And I would like to add here that when you work with a giant versus a small firm, the kind of opportunity and exposure you get in a relatively smaller firm is also far more enriching than just the compensation. So I think that way, the person who joined you was in a win-win situation in both fronts. His compensation also became higher over time, as well as his exposure, learning, and growth.
I really agree with you what you're saying that the exposure. In fact, this person has much more knowledge because there are less processes in a small organization. You get more exposure and direct access to the management, direct access to the client, direct access where you can explore yourself more. This person became an all-rounder where he touched base the front end of the system, the middleware of the system, and the back end of the system as well. So yes, it's not just the compensation, but also the overall growth exposure this person's get.
Right. At this point, I would like to take you to one scaling up tool called talent assessment. The talent assessment tool talks about two fronts on which to measure an employee. One is productivity, the other one is core values. So, which one do you think when it comes to hiring? Do you give more weightage to the productivity, competency, skill set versus core values or attitude? What is the mantra for your organization?
This is again a very interesting question because when we started the company, when we are drafting the policies, that how what kind of resources we are looking for, what kind of resources we should approach to hire them, and there was this question arise that we should have throughout first class from highly reputed colleges and all. But somehow there was a question arise is that we being small, why this talent pool will join in the campuses? When there were likes of Wipros, Accentures, the Capgeminis, they were there. Why should they would join us, a small organization, just a startup back in 2010-11? So we kept our criteria very simple. One is we said the attitude of the person is more important who can stay with us. We were ready to invest on his or her development, the candidate's development over the period of time. So the people who are ready to learn and adapt to the situation, we were giving priority to them over the skill set. Yes, minimum skill set, what was required, or the technical thing, obviously that was there. But more weightage was always given to the attitude of a person, how he's grasping, how he's adapting. And end of the day, it makes us more satisfying when we see these people grow. In fact, some of them are even undergraduates, those who have not completed their bachelor's. So this was the criteria when we drafting that. One of my founders said, we need engineering background people. And I was like, no, it will not matter because the people who will join are hungry. They are really looking for a job to prove themselves in this market. So we always preferred we were never kept this criteria that it should be from particular stream of engineering or computer sciences person. No. And that's what's these when I said 30-40% of our strength are people working today. Same people who joined with us are continuing today as well. So that's something I would say we always preferred the person who looks to add value to the company's growth, whose attitude is more important. He takes that ownership because there is the fire in the belly to prove, to do something. That's what I feel we always went for the attitude.
So hiring for attitude is a mantra, I would say then. I also remember discussing about the L&D program, the training program, because this is something very core for a tech firm, especially when you hire people who are also freshers. You have to give them a hand holding. And you spoke about something called a buddy program. So maybe if you can share that for our audience.
As I said earlier, we being in a niche domain, we have to develop the resources, right? From taking from them the freshers from the two tier three cities, at times tier four cities, we go and hire these people. Now these are very raw engineers or raw bachelors, what we say. So what we did, we hired a L&D manager, learning and development manager, where we drafted a program where 3 months of technical as well as soft skill development we give to them. After a 3 months assessment was done, and then we were putting them under a project manager or a project lead to groom as a shadow resource. What we did is we asked our L&D manager to assess their situations. How are they been given the task? What is required? Is manager being able to give that time or not? If not, what arrangement he is doing? Because the priority for any technical manager is to deliver things. Their priority, not grooming people. We kept sessions for the managers as well. This needs to be done for your grooming to reduce your bandwidth and your load so that you can have a good pool of your people. You should fight for your people and you should have these people for you. That way, we groom that person. And we have been able to draft one of the uh, programs, and you won't believe during COVID, we were worried that I had a good bench strength and what to do with this. So I met one of the HR heads of biggest financial institute. He said, Sachin, you have a good talent pool because you work in niche. This program will help to meet the industry needs because the industry is struggling to get resources who are industry ready or project ready rather. So we gave a thought over it, and then we came up with this idea called BIRTH, BIRTH, which stands for Building Industry Ready Talenthood. This was built for simple purpose to bridge the skill gap between the existing freshers or the engineering graduates or any graduates with the industry needs. We just don't help them technically grow, but we also help them with the corporate environment, what it needs to be. We help them with their soft skills and groom them where they can be utilized to the industry wherever it is required from day one. And what helped us is that when we spoke with these MNCs, they have this huge investment on training and different programs. They have to see to it, the HR team, the learning development manager team have to look that these programs are run very well. And still, despite of that, because they these freshers are more like very raw even after 6 months. So we got this initiative where we help certain companies with having this talent pool where they can absorb this talent pool from day one and put it on projects. And it's not just that we hire and give it to them. At the same time, we also customize this program according to the customer's need, according to client's need. I want particular skill set with a particular domain. I want this product knowledge. So we acquire the product knowledge and give it to the resource. So this is what we did for the talent hiring or rather grooming the talents.
Right. And as I understand from our discussion, I think investing in your employees, especially in their training, in their growth, is also a retention strategy.
There is this report that 47% of engineering students are not hireable. That's where when you give them the confidence, be it tier one, I'm not talking about tier one cities or tier one colleges, but tier two, tier three cities, they need this confidence. And once you give this the confidence that they have been groomed properly, they deliver for the company and they stay with us.
So, a large part of our discussion so far revolved around people, especially hiring and retention strategy, including some aspects of training as a retention strategy. Possibly, I would like to do some other pillars also, couple of questions from the other pillars of scaling up. The second pillar being the strategy pillar. I would like to understand, why did you choose a very niche field, which is fintech, which is where you're operating? Why this decision, and how is helping, not helping?
When we started, it was the time when the Flipkarts, the Ubers, the Olas, and other big companies, product companies, they started. But we always wanted to stay within the domain because that's what we believe in. That we wanted to be the specialized, not the generalist. I know there are many services company. Each and wherever you find, you will find the services doing each and everything in the domain. But when I represent, when I see, I call it that we are not a general hospital or multi-specialty hospital doing each and everything. Rather, we are a heart surgeons. We specialize only what matters to the heart. So that's where payment was something which we have been doing. We know it is a thing where there are very few specialized companies who work in the payment space or the fintech. Rather, now it's been called fintech space. So we never wanted to grow horizontally. We always wanted to grow vertically within the domain. So we started with the application for the acceptance of payments onto the phone for the merchants who are on the move for the Malaysia and Singapore market. We were good in payments. We know what is payment does. But with payment, there are other subdomains that we would need. We wanted to capture. Like we ventured into the FX business. We worked with the largest currency exchange houses for Europe. We worked with banks. In fact, I can proudly say that SBI mobile banking, the first mobile banking application, which was not Yono, but prior to that was SBI Freedom. We were the guys on the back end which who developed that Android, iOS, and Microsoft based mobile banking applications for SBI. It was not just SBI, but JNK Bank, Canara Bank, and other banks as well, where we worked with them to develop their mobile banking application. We worked with oil and gas company like BPCA with their Udan application, or it was more like a wallet application and different retail section where they wanted to use their last mile delivery. We were nowhere. We were a very small organization at that time, but because of niche domain that we worked with, we got that project. That was our USP. You won't believe, while bidding for the RFP, we were competing against TCS, KPIT, CC Avenues. These were bidding for that project. We were the smallest in all the bidders at that moment. But somehow, just because we were the specialist people, we got that project. So yes, coming to the main point is that really helped because your focus, we always want to keep our focus on what we do best. And that's where we could stand out from other services company which were everyone is doing web development, everyone is doing mobile application development. But we know we wanted to stay focused wherever there is a transaction happening, wherever is the payment happening, we come into picture. That was the USP, and that's what helped us to grow.
So, if I have to extend this conversation to another tool called Seven Strata, which is a tool within scaling up, which focuses on seven elements of strategy, I would say more than the niche, it's about the focus. I think that's what emerged from what you mentioned. And one more element of the Seven Strata tool is to know your core customer very clearly, if you know who your core customer is. So, let me ask you, who is your core customer?
Payment processors, retailers, banks, FX, foreign exchange houses, money transfer companies like Western Union. That is again one of the segments that we touch base. In fact, we work with them. Cryptocurrencies. In India, in Chennai Metro, you will see payment acceptance devices there or the cards. That application is built by my team. If you visit to London and you pay by your card in London taxi, you will find that application is built by my so it is like payment processors, retailers, banks, FIs, fintech startups. Now we also work with fintech startups to help them to build their strategy from scaling perspective or for the building their roadmap, how that technology should be there. Because in payments, it is very restricted domain. There are many statutory things, compliance is needed. There are certain protocols that needs to be followed. There are some standards. So these at times are the showstoppers. So what we do is that we help these founders that you don't worry about the technology part. We'll take care of your technology. You just focus on getting clients, getting investments. You build on businesses. We help you on the technology part.
Moving to the next pillar and couple of questions from that, and that's the execution pillar within the scaling up framework. My first question to you is about how do you execute, especially what kind of reviews do you do? How frequently do you do your reviews with your teams?
So this simple thing is numbers, risk, and actions. These were three things that we always focus on. So everyone during the meeting knows what we are going to ask. And I'm not a big believer of having continuous meetings, asking them. It is, we keep it very short, keep it to the point. At times, even we discuss on the move as well. Certain meetings with HR are on the desk itself. No invites, nothing. I know that this needs to be handled. Who is going to do? There is something wrong happening. Who is the owner of that thing and what action we are going to take? And if he or she needs support from us, what support we can give it. These are the things which we discuss. No huge meetings, as I said. I'm not a big fan of it.
I would like to just share from a scaling up framework, one of the tools which we have, which is a very simple tool, and I think that's what you were also explaining. We call it WWW, the three W's, and that is who, what, when. So at the end of the meeting, we document very clearly what is the action, who is going to lead that action, and by when. I think somewhere more or less that's what also you were referring to. Yeah, and apart from that, let me also share the meeting formats that we recommend, and we have been working and seeing our clients finding a lot of value, and there are primarily four meeting formats. They are very simple. One is the daily huddle or the daily stand up. A lot of companies do it. It opens up a communication channel between the team on a daily basis. Hardly 10-15 minutes it's take to just come and share a couple of brief elements. It's a fixed agenda. Second is a weekly huddle or a weekly meeting. Once a week, the team meets to share their performance growth in the last 1 week. Third is the monthly meeting where they focus on the big issues within the organization. And fourth is the quarterly or the annual planning meeting where they review how the last quarter was and what is going to be the operating plan for the next one quarter. So these are the four different meeting formats, and we have seen these working very well. Possibly, if you want, I can discuss these with you later on. But yes.
I would love to hear about that thing because that's something which, had I knew this earlier, my life would be more easier.
Okay, great. Okay. Moving to the next thing, and I remember in one of our conversation, you said you have very high client retention rate. So your clients stay with you for a considerable time, and I think that's something that most business owners, most businesses want to do. What is the mantra? What is it that you do differently?
As I said, we don't come from the management schools. We don't have that connects. We are not from the IITs. But what helped us was the honesty and the depth of the focus that we have within the domain. We never oversold ourselves. We said no, it will take time to deliver. And that gave us the credibility. In payments or any fintech project, it is all about trust. People don't really trust when there is no brand. It's the small projects that they gave us. And these small projects, the deliverabilities, the commitment that we have, that really helped us to gain the confidence of client. As I said that we worked with one of the currency exchange houses. It started with 2 week project. You won't believe it went on to work for 13 years, the long years. One of my clients, I knew him since 2007. He has left four organizations. He switched to four organizations. And in each and every organization, he has introduced us and gave us the project. So that is where he knows that these guys know what we are doing. You won't believe as I said, my ex-boss, ex-CEO, he also ventured in different he also gave us the business. He knew the capability or the skill set that we bring to table, and we take the entire responsibility to make sure to deliver it well and accept. See, one thing is that wherever mistakes happen, we have accepted it. We have warned beforehand that this might be the showstopper. Please be prepared for that thing, or this may delay the entire project. So That's where we have been able to retain our clients.
And if I have to add, I think the best publicity you can have is when your clients speak for you, they promote you, they refer you, or they take you along with them to the next organization. I think that's the best kind of PR you can have.
In fact, and if you visit our website, so we don't have a huge marketing team. In fact, I say my clients are my marketing or salespeople. They do the sales for us. What worked for us is these clients where we delivered, they have referred us to different places.
So, Sachin, on that note, let me ask my last question to you, and that is related to something that you have learned from this entire scaling up journey. What advice would you like to give to aspiring founders?
Very simple things. Don't shy away to do any kind of work. It is you get involved in everything, try to get the knowledge, but don't shy away from doing work. No work is small, no work is bigger. You might have very high degrees, but actually what works for you, you know it better. It's that hunger within you, that fire within you should always be there to learn something new. You need to adapt things. You cannot be rigid. And when you're talking about the people who wants to start new, be like a sponge where you absorb everything and retain whatever it's required, just dispose whatever it's not required. Because that's where you have to give your time to the understanding what are the needs to build, and make sure don't run after the fancy things. Don't see that we can scale very quickly. Scaling up too quickly can fade away easily. So that's what you don't need a business degree. You just need clarity and the resilience to stay with the organization. Stay to believe in yourself, what you are trying to achieve. Believe in yourself. That's what worked for us. And I think that where the clarity of thoughts or clarity in the values will help you to take it to the next level. That's what it is. Be consistent, be persistent.
Great. Thanks, Sachin. Thanks for such a lovely advice. And if I have to share a key takeaway from today's discussion, and that's about being focused. So don't run after fancy things like you said, rather remain focused, and that will take you all the way to scaling up your business.
Absolutely, I agree.
Thanks, Sachin. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.